Photo by Jonathan Daniel, Getty Images. Following the fourth of 5 preseason games for the Chicago Bears, we learned quite a bit about the bottom half of the roster. In a game where the Kansas City Chiefs showcased their starters for a good portion of the afternoon, head coach Matt Nagy decided to do the opposite. More from Windy CityNow. Now that the Bears have 4 exhibitions under their belt, I think we are all getting a strong feeling about certain players and their chances of making the final 53-man roster. On one hand, guys like Rashad Coward and 7th-round pick Javon Wims have impressed in a tremendous way. On the other, there are certainly players who have not shown enough to sneak their way onto the team. The decisions are going to be tough for Nagy and his staff when it comes to some of those final spots, but fortunately there have been guys who have made it obvious they simply don't belong. It is always tough to see players cut, regardless of their tenure with the team or in tenure the NFL. Some of the players the Bears cut will go on to have an extended career with other teams. But others may not be so lucky. Let's take a look at 5 players that Nagy should have a pretty easy decision cutting prior to the September 1st deadline. Page 2. Photo by Joel Auerbach, Getty Images. Everybody loves a good story. When John Franklin III became one of the centerfolds for Netflix's documentary series Last Chance U, his name blew up. Many people began to follow his story after the show, and myself included, rooted for the kid to get his shot in the NFL. That chance came when the Bears brought in the undrafted free agent and decided he would play defensive back. After playing both quarterback and wide receiver in college, this would be Franklin's 3rd position switch in a matter of 3 years. I understand these switches are difficult, especially for such a young player. It is going to take time for Franklin to come around and develop as a corner, but unfortunately for him, that time won't be spent on the Bears roster. It has been painfully obvious watching Franklin over the preseason that he is not yet anywhere close to an NFL-caliber cornerback. At this point, he wouldn't even make it onto the Bears practice squad. Franklin should be one of the first and easiest cuts made, and hopefully he goes on to find a new team where his development can continue. The Bears have too much youth at the position and, quite honestly, most are a few steps ahead of Franklin right now. Page 3. Use your arrows to browse. Photo by Brett Carlson, Getty Images. Benny Fowler came to the Bears after having spent the last couple of seasons with the Denver Broncos. The veteran wideout had made little impact in Denver, and the Bears had hopes he could come in and establish himself as maybe one of the final receivers kept. Fowler has had 2 things working against him. First, the Bears have all of a sudden become deep at the receiver position. My final 6 guys in that group are Allen Robinson, Taylor Gabriel, Anthony Miller, Kevin White, Javon Wims and Josh Bellamy. The second thing he has had working against him is, well, himself. Fowler has had some ugly drops in both practice and during preseason play. Playing a position with such a tremendous spotlight on it in Chicago is not going well for him this summer. Having spent time at some training camp practices, I can tell you Fowler is a great dude. He was one who stayed after practice for quite a while, signing for fans and just hung out and talked with them. If only being a good guy translated into even better play on the field. Unfortunately for Fowler, that's not the case. Right now, he doesn't look like he has anything close to a chance of sticking on this roster. Use your arrows to browse.